Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. The American Feed Industry Association recently premiered a video series intended to showcase the depth, breadth, and diversity of the $267.1 billion U.S. animal food industry. Joining us today to talk about this recent AFIA project and its importance to the U.S. feed industry is Victoria Broehm, Senior Director of Communications for AFIA, along with Cate Hollowitsch and Nathan Jones of Star Blends. Star Blend is a provider of quality animal feed from its mills there in Wisconsin. So thank you all for joining us here today. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
For those of you that are tuning in, we thank you for your time as well. If you have any questions, feel free to post those in the chat area on the right-hand side of your screen. If you're joining us from social media, post your questions directly in those channels. So let's start by having each of you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your role at your organizations and what it is you do. Victoria, let's start with you.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm the Senior Director of Communications here at the American Feed Industry Association. I've been with the association about 8 years, and I have the privilege of working with our Marketing and Communications Committee, which is a committee of members who help set the direction of marketing and communicating about all of our events, education programs, services, that kind of thing to the animal food industry. Really excited to be here with you all today and talk about a new project that we've been working on for several years. So several years in the making.
Very good. Cate, give us your background.
I'm Cate Hollowitsch. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Star Blends. We're an ag feed company, as you mentioned, here in Wisconsin. And I work with Nathan and his team closely. I'm also on the board of AFIA, which is very exciting. And I spend my days telling stories and putting all kinds of great activity out into the world and coordinating projects like this one.
Nathan, give us your role and what it is you do.
Yeah, good morning. Nathan Jones. I'm the president of Star Blends. I've been in the feed industry for a total of about 21 years, 14 of which have been with Star Blends, where I started out as a truck driver here and have worked my way up to president over those years. So very excited to be here today.
Very good. Welcome to you all. So now, Victoria, you mentioned this is a project that's been kind of underway for a couple years. Where did the idea come from, and what all did it take to get these videos from concept to the final production and rolling it out here recently?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we've noticed at AFIA, and I'm sure this is pretty common across all of agriculture, is that people are moving away from those rural areas and away from farms, and they're spending less time understanding what agriculture is all about. And so from AFIA's standpoint, we were starting to find that, one of our legislative and regulatory teams were talking to folks at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or the Foreign Ag Service, or even when our global policy team was abroad and they were talking to new audiences, that they really had a lot of misconceptions about what is the animal food industry. We got a lot of, oh, that's just corn and soybeans, right? Like that's what it is. That's animal feed. And we had such a difficult time explaining to individuals, and especially those who are in the position to make decisions about the industry, that it's a lot more than corn and soybeans. There's a lot of nutrition that goes into it. There's animal nutritionists, there's research and development, there's lab work, there's just a lot that goes into it. We are really cultivating precise animal nutrition to meet farmers and ranchers' needs or pet owners' needs. And so we really saw that there was an opportunity to get out there and talk about, what the industry is, get people inside of a mill or a pet food facility and let them see firsthand what's out there. And the other part of this too is that we find out that consumers, they really want to know more about where their food comes from, and they're starting to even ask more questions about where their pet's food comes from. And so this has been something that's been hanging out there for many years. It's very challenging to get inside of a facility just because of the different regulatory requirements. And so to get in and take pictures and videos might be a little bit of a challenge. And there's also sometimes some proprietary information. And that's certainly not anything that we wanted to showcase with our video series. So we were kind of coming at it, trying to figure out, okay, well, how can we make this work? And then we had an opportunity just fall into our laps.
Very good. So frame it up for us in terms of where consumers, legislators, those folks are right now. Say on a scale of 1 to 10, where's the general understanding of the U.S. animal food manufacturing industry and its role when it comes to global food security? Do you think there's an understanding at all? Is it down towards that 1? Is it up towards that 10? Where are we at on that?
Well, that's a great question. I really think it depends who you ask. So, our legislative and regulatory team, our global policy team, they meet with agency officials from the Foreign Ag Service, with some of those people at USDA, Animal Plant and Health Inspection Service. And I would say that since they've been having those meetings and they have those good relationships over the past few years, that understanding has evolved. Where it gets sometimes left out of the picture is internationally. And we might find in an international dialogue where they're talking all about food and agriculture that they really don't think all the way down to animal food. But over the past few years, we have been seeing that conversation changing to the point where even more people, decision makers, are seeing the impact that animal food can have on the environment, on food safety and security, and just overall animal vitality. And so we went to the U.S. Department of Agriculture last year, and this is kind of where that opportunity came from, and said, as the association is working to broaden those markets for the animal food industry beyond just our traditional trading partners, Canada, Mexico, some of those areas, but to newer markets where we haven't been before, like Vietnam, Brazil, Morocco, where, what can we be doing a little bit better? And we were able to apply for funds to get some of the funding to support some of that programming. And as part of that, we could use some of that funding for the video series. And that's one of those big questions that whenever our trade missions, when they're out there in the field, they get from, foreign feed regulatory, sometimes veterinary groups out in other countries. The different governments are asking more and more questions. And so that is an area where we have seen, probably on that scale, you're looking at like a 2, 3 level, and we are trying to get it up to that 10. And the more that we're out there and we're providing good educational opportunities and doing some of this outreach, we are seeing that changing.
Now, you've done 3 videos in this series. 3 have been released. And they all kind of have the same message, but they kind of tell it in a different way. Cate, can you walk us through that, kind of what the approach was and why?
Well, there was probably a lot of trial and error before you land on the final. There's, you start down a path of, oh, we could tell the story this way, and then you get a different idea and you revisit where that path is going to go. But I think that question you asked about the scale of where people are, I think ultimately the outcome is to increase that ranking for any of these various audiences. And so that means that while we're at it and we're filming, can you use that footage to meet different outcomes and tell different versions of that story to different audiences? So I think generally speaking, the level of knowledge, the amount of statistics and information that you have to give to an external international audience is way different than the internal audience, those of us that are in the industry and know some of those statistics off the top of our head. And so this video series, by breaking it into 3 different ones, allows us to use some of that statistical information strategically in order to get that point across to the different audiences. And so it allows us to talk about the number of pounds and the dollar value and those high level statistics that you would see like on an infographic that really get people excited when they see a large number, and then breaking it down into the hands that are doing the work and touching each of the elements in the ingredients or running the tests in the laboratory. And so those 3 videos, I think, allow us to tell those stories in different ways to those different audiences and meet the different audiences where they are on that spectrum of knowledge.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So let's bring this a little closer to home, shall we say? Nathan, why don't you walk us through? Tell us a little bit about Star Blends and its dedication to livestock customers. What is it that what's kind of your marketing range, and why are these videos important to you at more of a local level?
Yeah, so Star Blends operates 2 manufacturing facilities, one in Sparta, Wisconsin, one in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. About 90% of our business is bulk dairy feed. We do a little bit of packaging. We do a little bit of stuff, ancillary type feeds, backyard flock, chicken feed, some pig feed, stuff like that. But the vast majority of what we're doing is bulk dairy feed. These videos really highlighted to me the sustainability part of the feed industry, right? They show how the feed industry upcycles byproducts and co-products. It also did a wonderful job highlighting the safety of the feed. You think about our animal feed that Star Blends is producing, it's the beginning of the food chain, and it's not the Wisconsin food chain. It's not the United States food chain. This is a global. So I really think the videos did a wonderful job highlighting those things. So.
Have you shown the videos to your team, those folks who are actually making it happen there in the plant? And I'd be interested if you have, if that just, how they perceive that. Did they come away with really more of a sense of pride for being in the industry, more of an understanding? What's been the initial feedback?
Yeah, Sarah, we have, a funny thing is, I have these videos playing nonstop on a loop in big screen TVs in my office. In our common area. I want not only my employees to see this and to be proud of the industry in which they work, but I want my customers as they enter our facility to see this as well. These videos highlight our hardworking team. They highlight our facility. I couldn't be prouder. The first time I seen the video was actually at the IPP show down in Atlanta, Georgia. I walked past the AFIA booth and I seen it playing on a TV there. At the end of the day, I hopped on public transit back to my motel room that night, and lo and behold, here's this video playing on this public transport. I immediately got on the phone and I called my mill manager at Chippewa Falls. I'm like, you're not going to believe what I'm watching right now. So, yeah, I couldn't be prouder of my team, of the facility, of our ownership, and IFAA to include me in these videos highlighting our industry. Really showing the hard work that everybody's doing each and every day to provide a high quality, safe product.
Well, and sometimes it's a challenge, even in any industry, but in the feed industry too, to find people who will, work in your facilities. Will these videos help in that regard, do you think? Will they be like, wow, this is really, more of a career, more than just a job, and just kind of help to build the role and when you're looking for new people to bring on board?
Right. It'll definitely help describe our industry and outline it. It's not, like you said, it's not just a job. There was a time, to be honest with you, I thought it was just a job, right? I drove a truck up and down the road. I delivered feed, but it's much deeper than that. It goes much farther than that. And to be able to tell somebody who's out on the floor, they might be bagging feed today, but someday you could run this place, and what you do every day makes a difference. When you're out there gathering hand ads and you're adding ingredients to this feed mix, there's a life at the other end of that, at the other end of that chain that you have an impact on, and you have an impact globally on the food chain. So yeah, I think it's a good conversation to have with not only future employees, but current employees too.
hmm So what does it take? Because I've been through a number of facilities, and I know you got to have the maintenance and the cleaning and all that, but to have someone come in with a video camera and to start shooting, I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of steps and a lot of work involved. Plus you had to make sure you had I don't know how many times I've gone out to take a picture outside of a facility and it's a gray sky and it just kind of blends. So you got to have good weather as well. How did all that come together? A lot of work on your part, would you say?
Again, to be honest with you, our team does a wonderful job. Our feed mills are clean and well kept. So hats off to my team for doing that. So this wasn't that big of a deal to have the AFIA come in and do this. Obviously, we tidied up and made sure the grass was mowed and did what we could to put our best hat on. But our facilities are clean and well maintained all the time, so it wasn't that big of a lift to get there. So.
Oh, that's great. That's terrific. So, Cate, who then did you all decide is kind of the target audience? What is the overall, hey, we want to make sure we're reaching these people with these videos?
I'll let Victoria answer that from the perspective of AFIA, but from the perspective of Star Blends, there's several audiences here as well. To your questions to Nathan, there's a recruiting element to it. We can showcase it to candidates to show them a little bit about what it's like to work in the feed industry. Some of them come to us having no concept of a feed mill and what that is. So it's beneficial to give them that pride of place and that insight into what it's like and the impact they're having globally even. So we use it for that audience. We do like showcasing it to our existing customers, dairy nutritionists, farmers, because it does also showcase that we are experts in our industry. And to Nathan's point, we have a very clean facility. We have high quality standards. He runs a tight operation up there. When Victoria asked if we could do this, I said yes without asking Nathan, because I knew that it was going to be a really great facility to be in. So it's another way for us to showcase that, because even our own customers don't get to see the inside of our facility and see what we do every day and the equipment that we run and the employees and the care they put into it. So that would be one of our audiences. Even our internal employees that work away from the mill, accounting, HR, IT. We have some sister companies that are in our ownership group as well. And of course, they were all super jealous about this video because now they want one like this. But they're in completely different industries, but it's nice to showcase it to them too, because we all work together to make sure that what one of our companies is doing and what they're doing well is something that we're all proud of. And so it also allows us to tell Nathan's story and his team's story to other businesses. It works at Chamber of Commerce meetings and Rotary Club meetings and things. When people ask, what do you do? I'm like, this is what I do. And so I'm using it in those kind of ways as well. We showcase it on our social media channels, thought leadership on LinkedIn for our executive teams and things like that, for those same reasons, that it allows a larger audience that are even more degrees removed from the feed industry to see the value of the things we do in the world.
Victoria, anything to add to that?
Yes, absolutely. And so I think that's a great showcase of how our members can use the videos. And that's one of the reasons that we did want to make the video package, is because there are so many diverse audiences. It would be impossible for us to hit all of them. But from an AFIA perspective, we are taking this thing on the road. And when I say on the road, I mean even on an airplane, on another road in another country. We're getting we're getting them translated. So as we've mentioned here, they do have different elements of a message. So the first one really is that overview, talking about the industry and the impact of the U.S. animal food industry from a safety, environmental protection, all of those different reasons. The second video really talks about that precise animal nutrition, and so how we arrive at the diets that we have and why we have some of the highest standard animal food in the entire world. So we're talking about that. And then the third one really discusses sustainability. And it does so in an animated way, which is really fun, because we do know that some of these concepts are a little difficult to grasp, but it's a topic that's on everyone's radar, especially for policymakers and some of those decision makers. So our global policy team will be taking it abroad on some of their trade missions that they are doing this year. And then from a domestic side, the American Feed Industry Association also had supported the project financially. And so we are going to be pushing it out to some of the domestic audiences. And we really have a great opportunity this year with a new administration, a new Congress, to make sure that these people understand a lot about the U.S. animal food industry. There's a lot going on right now. If you haven't noticed, in Washington, D.C., it's pretty busy and people are moving around quite a bit. And there's a lot of new people coming into D.C. So we want to make sure that these people really understand our industry, the impact that the 80,000 workers have on the rural economy, and food and agriculture. And so we'll be bringing that out there to that audience too. And then apart from that, we'll be showcasing it at all of our events this year, hopefully to get in some more buses. Nathan, I'm so glad that you saw that at the International Production Processing Expo. But we'll be bringing it to all the different member meetings that we have this year and events, and then looking for some opportunities to get it in front of educational institutions. So we do have some partnerships with universities and want to make sure that some of those students who may be considering a career in the animal food industry, get to see those and consider us as a great place to work for a whole career.
If someone's interested in finding more out about the videos, where should they go, Victoria?
Absolutely. So come to afia.org, and right on our homepage right now, you can click on the main landing page to get to the top videos, but then also follow us on social media. We have these things, we have shorter versions of it going out. I know that people have shorter attention spans nowadays, and so we have some 30, 60-second clips that are going out on Instagram and LinkedIn. So be sure to share those and tag them. And then if there are people out there watching this that could use them for other purposes, please get in contact with us, because we are happy to share some of the footage. Star Blends is a partner, but we had some other member companies that offer their facilities as well. And so it's a really good, diverse look at the depth and breadth of the animal food industry. So there might be other instances where people would like to use it. So please reach out to us and we will assist as best as possible.
And they are great videos. I have watched them. A great job to all of you and everyone that was involved. Thank you, Nathan and Victoria and Cate. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing this kind of background insight on these videos and all the hard work that you've put into that. We appreciate you taking the time, and we appreciate you taking the time to put together that series. Likewise, we appreciate all of you for tuning in today. If you have any questions, you can contact AFIA. If you'd like to share this video or watch any of our past videos on Feedstuffs 365, go to feedstuffs.com. Until next time, for Feedstuffs, I'm Sarah Muirhead.